Well, Election Day has come and gone, and I'm glad it went the way it did in some ways, and other ways could have gone better. We'll have a video of the some of the breakdown from the New York point of view, because technically New York has become a swing state now. Yes, that's right. We've gone a bit purple. Here in Staten Island, we're pushing more forward to be more red. The North Shore of Staten Island was the one that basically is still somewhat blue, but they've lost more territory to that as more and more people have flipped away. And that's one of the reasons why the election went the way it did. It was places like New York, especially New York City, that has flipped their vote. But let's talk about next year, the future. What is going to happen as far as one major thing that is going on? And we're talking about age verification. Now, there have been some wins and some losses. And the thing about it is, some of those losses are now being put back into the courts. The courts are looking at it again. Now, one major lawsuit that has happened, which is in Texas, which has been fought day in, day out by the Free Speech Coalition and the ACLU and many others. Basically, now it's moving to the Supreme Court. SCOTUS is going to hear this. Now, we were supposed to get it in October. I don't know what happened with that. It's probably had to have been rescheduled, maybe because of the elections. But now we expect it to hear it in January. We're going to read this off of XBiz. Hat tip to Drew Fox on this. Supreme Court to hear all arguments on the Texas AV law in January. The United States Supreme Court has scheduled oral arguments for the Free Speech Coalition challenge to Texas age verification law to take place Wednesday, January 15th. In March, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the age verification mandate in the Texas HB 1181, which was challenged by the FSC, the American Civil Liberties Union, and the ACLU of Texas, along with several co-complainants on the grounds that it is unconstitutional. The plaintiffs then petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court, saying that the Fifth Circuit applied a lower level of scrutiny to the law than was warranted. In a statement, the FSC Executive Director Allison Bowden said, while Texas law may sound reasonable on its face, in practice, it is an extraordinary, burdensome, and invasive, effective deterrent from adults from accessing legal content. To make matters worse, the law and the ones liking it fail at their stated goal of protecting children online, despite forcing adult content creators and consumers to operate under the threat of surveillance and censorship. We look forward to making our case before the court. And that is correct onto that situation. They are not protecting children. They're not protecting the consumers. What they're doing is, they're forcing us to identify ourselves. There are those of us online who don't subscribe to these websites. We just watch it directly. It's like free streaming. It's like Tubi TV, Pluto TV. You don't have to sign up. It's nice that you sign up because you'll be able to save, make lists of videos you want to see, that if you don't have time to watch it, you can watch it later. That's the same thing on Pornhub, X videos, and many others. Is the same situation. Likes, comments, and stuff like that as well. But a lot of people don't do that. They don't want to be identified. So let's finish this article off. Industry attorney Corey D. Silverstein, who along with attorney Lawrence Walters filed an amicus brief on behalf of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, Woodhull Freedom Foundation, and Tech Freedom. express confidence that the Texas law will be sent back to the Fifth Circuit with a mandate to apply strict scrutiny. I'm exceptionally optimistic about the prospects, he told XBiz. I think it's very clear that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals got the case wrong, and I believe that the U.S. Supreme Court is eager to correct this wrong and put the Fifth Circuit back in its place. And yes, to basically smack down age verification laws throughout the country. Note, if this comes back to Fifth Circuit and Fifth Circuit has to go around saying that this is unconstitutional, this is going to pretty much wipe the slate clean for age verification programs. You're going to see Louisiana, you're going to see Virginia, most of the other states that have put these into play and knocked them out of court. I mean, literally, they're basically, you will see a complete wipeout for age verification in the United States. Note that. Please note that. Even though with these age verification laws in place, we still have access to these sites, even though companies like Pornhub have completely geo-blocked these states. We could still access them via VPN. And no, I'm not going to do a commercial for VPN now, but that's what it is. It's called a VPN, as someone mentioned once. You know, they think they won these things. There are tools and resources where we can access it. These are the same fights that we're having similar to anime and manga, which now the United Nations is attacking Japan to that situation. That's saying, well, it's a detriment to women. You know, and there's, CP and all this situation. But they never talk about the men. You know, when it comes down to the situation, they talk about the children. They talk about the women. But there are men in the porn industry. There are men in anime and manga. And basically, they really don't care about it. That's how much they don't care about this. That basically they've thrown these age verification laws into place. And this is done by the radical right and left that are doing this. Groups like NOSC, or as I call them, Morality and Media. Remember, Morality and Media is a group that is looking to censor things, period. They want to throw their Puritan ideology at you. This is what they want to do. They've attacked people like George Carlin. They've attacked Cosmopolitan, sports swimsuit editions, and many others that they've gone to war with. They've gone to war with video games, wanting to censor them. This is what happens. When you have people like this influencing lawmakers that saying, we don't want this. If you don't want it, don't watch it. Don't take away the rights from others who want to watch things like anime, manga, and porn. Why are you going to do that? Because you don't like it? Nobody's telling you to watch it. Nobody's forcing you. They say that, basically that the internet is forcing this onto the children. Well, as an adult, if I had children, I would be paying attention as a parent to what my child is watching. If I don't want him to look at certain anime series, read certain manga, obviously not to not watch porn, I would put safeguards on my computer to that. I'm allowed to do that. And really, I don't have to pay for it. Really, comes in most of my software, as far as my antivirus and software packages that protect my computer. It's an add-on. This is the same thing that corporations use to block these sites from their employees from watching. See, they don't talk about the corporations, the employees in the offices and stuff like that, because basically most of that is blocked by the company itself, by the IT department. Don't need government intervention for that. See, what comes down to it when you hear age verification, it's censorship. And this is happening all over the world. There are those who attack certain entertainment spheres. When they're, if they ever, God forbidding, if they ever destroy the anime manga industry, if they block all the porn and destroy the porn industry, guess what they're going to go after next? Which they're already doing. They're going to go after the NC-17 movies. They're going to go after the R-rated movies. They're going to go after the PG-13 movies. They want to put out, and you saw it through this last 2 years, what Hollywood puts out on the marketplace. They put out what they basically want to produce out there as a political stint, not an artistic value, an artistic entertainment point. You've heard this from Tarantino. The artistic expression has been removed from Hollywood. They're going to tell you this is a Hays Code 2.0. And I'm surprised no one has brought this up, because this should be going stuff what Hollywood has been putting out lately. Whereas, you have groups that are promoting this as, oh, you got to be diverse, you got to have X amount of people on there. But the thing about it is, for me to hire somebody, to put somebody in a movie, should be my choice. If I'm the producer, if I'm the director, if I'm the writer, if I'm the artist, what type of paint to use. And, I said this analogy before. Think of this as an artist painting a picture. And he's painting it. Someone comes across and says, no, I want you to use this color and not this color. And I'm not talking it from a racist point of view. I'm talking it from an artistic point of view. You're painting something and you feel that the trees should be green, and all that. And they said, no, I don't want it to be green. I want it to be yellow. And, and I want it to be this way. You're taking away the expression of the person creating the artwork and letting the critic control that. See the difference? This is not a racist situation to the point. This is an artistic expression. See, when the first Hays Code went out, the first Hays Code many years ago through the 30s, into the 40s, into the 50s, then the Supreme Court found it. Remember this. The Supreme Court found it unconstitutional of what they were doing in Hollywood at that time period. By the time we got to the 70s, because it took that long to flip everything over and create the MPAA, the Motion Picture Association of America, the 70s, the 80s, and the early 90s was a renaissance of filmmaking. You got so many companies like, for example, Miramax. Companies like Miramax that came out, and many other indie film companies, and they created some great films. We've seen stuff from the 70s to the 80s that were fantastic. When the VHS era came in, look at how much, and you may say to yourself, well, there was a lot of garbage films out there. There were a lot of films that didn't end up on the movie screen, that ended up on the VHS shelf, that is classic, either cult classic or have become a true classic movie. And yes, those from minority communities got to be in them, got to work on them. There were women directors. There were women directors going back to the 30s, to the silent era. You have to remember that. When they say, we got to break the glass ceiling, this glass ceiling was broken. We as a whole, or as Hollywood as a whole, don't praise those people in the industry that came before us. They don't praise those pioneers in filmmaking, broadcast television, and all that, because there's so many people that have come through that have given us great movies. I talk about the Roger Corman School of Film, of all those who worked with Roger Corman to learn his skill and pass that on and to create some great movies. Some have won Oscars. Remember that point of view. Now, the films that we get today are not as good as it used to be. Why? Because they interject all these politics. They say you got to have this amount of people in there, this type of minority, or you got to have this amount on the crew situation. But because of that, you get situations where you see all these Disney movies that have failed, Marvel Universe movies that have failed, TV series from them that have failed. There used to be a great renaissance of Disney filmmaking. When they've had the many problems that they had in the early 80s, like Black Hole and Something Wicked This Way Comes, and many other movies that have on there. And I've said this, Black Hole needs to be, the special effects need to be redone. If they fix some of those special effects, fix some of the editing, they can have a fantastic movie. Then you had companies like Touchstone Films, which is Disney. They created R-rated movies. They weren't afraid, because people said, "Oh, Disney doesn't do R-rated movies." Yeah, of course they did for many years. For many years they did under the Touchstone brand name. I saw the other day someone, they were talking about they couldn't have a sequel to Roger Rabbit because of Roger Rabbit's wife, Jessica Rabbit.
I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
They said she was too sexy. That that basically she was too sexy for that kind of movie. And they said you couldn't have, for a family film. Understand, this was under the Touchstone logo. This was a PG-13 movie. Okay? A series like this, Roger Rabbit. And I talked about this many times when we used to have Saturday Pre-Flight. We had femme fatales. Femme fatales in movies. Jessica Rabbit is a femme fatale. That is a character in a movie. We've had many of them, and we still do on certain films. The femme fatale drives the story. If you ever watch any of the Humphrey Bogart films where he played a detective, you had to have the femme fatale. Even during the Hays Code, and they tried to basically twist that femme fatale on there. And the directors and producers did their best to try to get around that. And there are some producers today that are trying to get around Hollywood itself by going outside Hollywood, by going indie. You've seen Terrifier 3. You've seen a lot of these other films. Megan's coming out with a sequel. That's a part of it, indie. And many others that are doing their best to try to keep the entertainment business going. Taylor Sheridan. I've talked about Taylor Sheridan before. Taylor Sheridan's got Tulsa King, really, really good. I haven't started watching Yellowstone yet, but everybody's talking about it. Think about it. Sheridan and everybody else that works with him, production-wise, stuff like that, they have technically, they're going into 6 shows that are hits. Why is that? Because their hands are not being tied. They're allowed to express what they want to put on film, on TV, on your computer. This is what happens when you allow artistic expression to be put forward. You get some great TV shows. You get some great movies. But I've been going on a little bit about this. But, of course, we're waiting to see what SCOTUS will say on this. Hopefully age verification will be removed so we can get back to the job that we need to do to create good entertainment without the hampering of government intervention. So, comment, let me know your thoughts about this. Don't forget to hit that like, share this video, and hit that subscribe. That helps us a lot. We thank you for those who have subscribed and clicked on this video, because there could be thousands and thousands of videos out there you could have watched, but you clicked on this particular one, and we really do appreciate that. Be sure to check out all of our other videos here on CutieCast TV, Man with a Show, and Otaku Thursdays as well. So until next time, thank you for tuning in, and have a good one.